Hello and welcome back to another Pricey HD video, and today we've got another Game of the Week episode. This time it's Southampton vs Spurs, and you might think, this guy, he sounds a bit different. Yes, that is because I finally have invested, well, I haven't invested, my parents, well, not my parents, my brother has invested in a Blue Yeti microphone for me for Christmas, and it has got to be one of the best presents I've ever had, because it's just such an amazing piece of equipment. I'm still finding my feet with it. I'm still trying to work out the best settings for the best audio quality possible, but quite frankly, right now you can hear just how crisp I am. I've been putting this off for a while because it is basically the least priority, and it's quite expensive for what it is. I mean, audio, it's very important, but it's not as important as the HD quality on the screen, in my opinion. I mean, debatably it is, but as a YouTube channel of my size, it wasn't at the time. So I just kept with the basic headset, and at the moment, I'm currently testing this microphone out. It's just beautiful. It's so nicely designed. It's the blackout edition as well. Now, please tell me down below if you've got one of these microphones, you got any problems with them, any positives, any negatives. I would really like to know what your best settings are for this, because I'm trying to find my feet with it just as much as you probably were if you got this and you were at the start trying to find out what was going on with it too. But the main overall thing is the fact that this is the first video ever on Pricey HD that is not recorded with that headset microphone, apart from one which I recorded with my normal camera microphone, which is already installed in the camera, of course. But anyway, right now we've got the third day of Christmas, indeed, and it is the FIFA 17 Game of the Week, Southampton vs Spurs, which is being played out tomorrow at St Mary's at around 7:45, am I right? Let me just see. Yeah, 7:45 at St Mary's Stadium, of course. So that is a very, very interesting lineup, because we've got two fixtures here. I mean, two teams, sorry, that are on alright form. You've got Southampton, who at the moment are sitting in 8th as it stands, because as I'm recording this, it is indeed Boxing Day. Yeah, I know, I pre-record videos, I admit. So at the moment, Southampton are in 8th because West Brom are drawing with Arsenal, and that's only on goal difference. But then you have Tottenham, who are in 5th. And Tottenham are a decent team this year. They've got a good round of players and a solid striker in Harry Kane too. In fact, it was only the other week that I did a Game of the Week with Tottenham, and we already all know like what my thoughts are on them this year. So let's move on to Southampton. Southampton, well, of course, Ronald Koeman left, and the Southampton team seemed to be in jeopardy, because every year they lose their best players. They lost, obviously, this year it was Mane. But they've done really well, and you've got to commend them for it. They are in 8th position at the moment. It could possibly be 7th if West Brom lose Arsenal. And I've got to admit, fair enough, that is absolutely incredible, because I expected them to be in around the 13th, 14th area, sort of where Middlesbrough are, sort of where Leicester is, in fact. And yet, I know that the season can change very quickly. They are only around 6 points ahead of Leicester, and that would send them all the way down the league. But you've got to congratulate them for their decent work and decent job. Of course, you've got Mauricio Pochettino, former Southampton manager, as Tottenham manager now. And it is quite amazing, actually, that it's been 2 managers since Mauricio Pochettino at Southampton, because that seems so recent. He's a good manager, Pochettino, and Southampton he built a good side with Southampton before, you know, all of them players left. So let's have a look at some statistics now. Spurs have won 4 straight home games in the Premier League and sit just 1 point off the top 4, but they haven't taken 3 points on their travels since overcoming Middlesbrough in September. So basically, it's been a while since they overcome an away team, and that was, of course, Middlesbrough. Meanwhile, Southampton were the last side to beat Spurs at White Hart Lane in the league and go into the game full of confidence following a convincing 3-1 victory over South Coast neighbours Bournemouth. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me Southampton have a decent record against Spurs. I'm not sure whether that's just, like, completely wrong, but I seem to hear quite a lot. I don't know whether it's just the back of my mind or whether it's more subconscious or what. Southampton seem to beat Spurs. Like, I don't know whether that's just me being stupid, but maybe it's because of Mauricio Pochettino. I'm not really sure. I don't know. The match will kick off at 7:45, of course, on the 28th of December. and the live coverage will be shown on Sky Sports 1. In fact, what I said earlier was a complete lie. Southampton never beat Tottenham. In fact, since Southampton got promoted in 2012, they've lost every game against Tottenham apart from 2, drawing one of them on the 25th of April 2015, 2-2, and then, of course, winning one of them on the 8th of May 2016, 2-1. So it is the more recent games that they've won, and they've been very eventful games too. You look, and it wasn't until 2014, no, that's also wrong too. In fact, it wasn't until the second game that one of the teams didn't score. But you've got a 2-1, you've got a 1-0, you've got a 3-2, you've got a 3-2, you've got a 1-0, you've got a 2-2, you've got a 2-0, you've got a 2-1. So that's a lot of goals in these games. In fact, there is only, in that list of games, there is only 3 games that a team failed to score in. So that is pretty immense. That is unbelievable. Then you look to more distant history. You've got a decent lot of results for Southampton. You've got Southampton with 2 wins on the 1st of January 2003, they got a win, and then in the FA Cup on the 4th of January, only 3 days later, 2003, they also got a win. So where does that leave me with my predictions for the game? Well, quite frankly, I don't have a faintest idea, because my predictions always seem to go dreadfully wrong, as you would know. In fact, it would be quite interesting if I went back through my old Game of the Weeks and totted up how many I'd got right. It's got to be less than 50%, I pretty much guarantee that. My predictions, it is of course at St Mary's, so Southampton have the home advantage, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is a 1-1. One of the first draws, in fact the only second draw since Southampton would have been promoted in a fixture involving the 2 teams. So basically I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, and currently you can see right now on FIFA it is 0-0 at half time. So you can clearly tell that this is a stalemate. I get that these games quite often end 0-0. Although I say that they end 0-0, and then we had last week, yesterday, we had a game which involved West Brom and Arsenal, and of course Arsenal at the Emirates. West Brom got a 1-0 victory with a Solomon Rondon goal in the FIFA 17 simulation. So, I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens. It's a really hard one to predict, because you've got 2 teams who aren't in bad form. Tottenham, on one hand, you've got sort of like Champions League competitors with Tottenham. They really want the Champions League again this year, so they can actually progress in it next year, because, let's be honest, their Champions League campaign has been dreadful. But then you've also got Southampton, who always seem to be there or about 8th, 7th or 6th, and it is amazing how they sustain that position with the losses that they've suffered. Southampton are genuinely a complete example. Like, they are an example to the rest of the league. They have set one of the best stabilised teams in the Premier League, despite how many players they lose. Players like Klein, players like Lallana, players like Mane. Literally, just everyone just seems to leave, and they're left with very few strikers, and it's quite worrying actually. The striking options for Southampton are quite low. I really think that they will improve this in January or in the summer. Of course, you've got Shane Long, and who else? Who else is the striker for Southampton? I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I'll be ridiculously mocked in the comments now. But either way, Southampton have got a really solid team, and they have really impressed me since they got promoted back in 2012. And who knows, it's probably just willing for better things. I mean, you've got a team like Swansea who, well, they got promoted back in 2011, and they seem like they've had their time now, and they could really go down. They've suffered from losing a lot of players like Williams, and now you look at Southampton, it's only 1 year until they've been in the Premier League for the same amount of time as Swansea. Is that then their time to go down? I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think Southampton, they sound like an established Premier League club now. Just that name. Then again, so does Swansea. I can't imagine the Premier League without Swansea, to be honest. Even though, obviously, I say it's recent. They've been in the Premier League since 2011. Can you believe that's 5 years now? Yeah, 5 years. That is just, that's unbelievable. That has not sunk in at all. 5 years since Swansea got promoted, and Swansea really impressed me. But this isn't a game of the week about Swansea, so let's wrap up, let's conclude on my Southampton-Tottenham thoughts. I think Southampton will get a draw here. I think Tottenham will get a draw here, obviously, because if one team draws, then the other draws. And I think it's going to be 1-1. I'm reckoning a goal for Tottenham will come through. I'm not quite sure. Let's forget goal scorers. That's not going to work. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. This is the 3rd day of Christmas. We've still got more days of Christmas to come. I really hope you do enjoy them. Merry New Year's Eve, or whatever it is. And goodbye for now.